Welcome to how to hunt a military installation with me, Jesse. Today I'm going to go over how to hunt Fort Cavazos and how to log in and register to iSportsman's. You do not have to be military personnel in order to hunt Fort Cavazos / Fort Hood. All you have to do is register and understand the rules and regulation. You can pay for a permit and you can hunt all year round as long as something's in season. So as long as you understand the rules, regulations, and guidelines of natural resources on Fort Cavazos, then you'll be okay. You do not have to be in the Army or in the military in order to hunt any type of military installation. Now, iSportsman's is a nationwide thing. Once you register on iSportsman's, you don't have to do that again, but you do have to rewatch any safety videos or guidelines. You got to review, and you have to buy the permits for the military installations. Just like going to a different state to hunt, you need to have the proper paperwork, right? On top of all of that, these are federal installations, so there's a lot more that goes into it than just state stuff that you might already know. That's why it's really important to understand all of the regulations that come along with it, which we will cover shortly after this. All right, so here we are on Google. All we're going to do is look up Fort Cavazos iSportsman's. It's going to bring you right to the URL. Go ahead and don't go to login. It's just going to take you there. If you don't want to register or whatever, you just want to follow along, you can go to guides and regs. You don't have to be registered to view a lot of that stuff. So once you click something, it's going to bring you to this front page. This is the home page for iSportsman's Fort Cavazos. You see right here, it says welcome to Fort Cavazos iSportsman's. And then it has all the 2024-25 regulations. It's in the news and report page. And then permits are available now, which we're gonna do today. A really important feature is this alerts and news. And then this drop down menu here, this is where you're gonna find the most important information in iSportsman's. So we are on news and reports, and now what we can see a land release, which we've already covered, and then there's a fishing stock report, which you can download as well. So here you can see all of the really important changes to the annual hunting, fishing, and natural resource use guide. So there's a lot of different little changes that you have to pay attention to. Some are good, some are, just a little different. I think it doesn't really matter because rules are rules, and we have a great place to hunt and fish. We need to adhere to all those rules. So I'm not going to cover all the ins and outs of this. This is your responsibility in order to know. This is your responsibility to know. This is where all the rules are, and if you don't know the rules, then you're sort of at fault. There are some things that are pretty interesting about Fort Cavazos. You can put feeders up at a certain time frame, and you can feed. That's what we're going to get into because it's sort of a hot topic around here on what kind of feeders you can use and who and what and where and when, whatever. So there's a couple changes here that sort of stand out to me. To be here, you have a permit fee from 5 to 15, so they changed that. But that money goes into a natural resources fund. It's a wildlife fund, essentially. And all that money is dedicated back to the resources available on Fort Cavazos and Hood. So that's where our money goes now, whereas it was not going to where we thought it was, which is a whole different topic, but I can talk to somebody about that if they'd like. So right here, if you need to know, which you need to know, the penalties. We'll get into the 210-25 here soon. So right off the bat, let's get into the feeders. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna look up the word feeder. You can control F that if you don't know that. This is the PDF, so you gotta make sure that the names on the feeder match your profile in iSportsman's. Number one. All right, you have till 1 September to 31 January to have your hanging feeder out in the field. They do prescribe burns on Fort Cavazos, so in the event that your feeder is damaged, it's on you. You're at your own risk with this stuff. Something that wasn't clarified completely is that feeding may be done on the ground. No, it cannot. Or by hanging temporary feeder. You can feed on the ground. You cannot have a feeder on the ground. You can't have a feeder on the ground. It has to be in a tree. It cannot impede traffic in any kind of way. That's why it has to be in a hanging feeder. Imagine if you're a striker driver in the Army and you're driving along and you're in the training area, next thing you know, you run smack dab in a huge feeding fence that's been there for 18 years, and the guy gets real mad because you broke his feeder and he's been out there and it's his land supposedly, but it's not. That's why you can't have a freaking feeder and a huge pen out there anymore, because that kind of stuff happens. So welcome to the Army. Hang your feeder. If you want to learn how to hang a feeder, I'll teach you. You want to buy all the stuff, I'll teach you. I'll make it for you for a small fee. All right, back to the feeders. Feeders are only authorized 1 September to 31 January. You can use food plots, but you have to have a dig permit. You cannot use fencing, so you're subject to cows and hogs. Honestly, it's not worth it. Unless you have some miracle place that cows can't get to, which is pretty much nowhere. Middle of a river maybe, I don't know. Don't mess with other people's stuff, man. Just walk by it. Don't mess with any people's crap. I don't know what people's problem is, but keep your sticky paws off of other people's junk. Okay, you can only hang feeders. I got two 55-gallon drums that I converted over to hanging feeders because, you know, they were a tripod, but now can't have them. It's tough. It is what it is. Like I said, feeding on the ground is authorized all year. You can hand feed all you want. Like I said, the cows will find your stuff if you hand feed. They'll move away eventually, but they're gonna wreck your stuff. As soon as you throw it on the ground, give it 24 hours, I bet you some cows will eat it all up. And there's no really way to know unless you watch it, because you ain't allowed cameras. Okay, so we covered that pretty well. We'll get into the regulation a little bit more, but up front, I just want to clarify that feeders are authorized come 1 September to 31 January. Okay, we just went over news and reports to sort of view all the rules and regulations that come along with going out and recreating on Fort Cavazos. So it's probably the most important document you need to know in this entire website. Secondly, we're going to go to guides and regs. You have this firearm registration now. There is no rifle, but you can slug hunt hogs and deer during deer season. You can register your shotguns as well. You don't have to register your bow. If you're going to register a firearm, you need to go to the Marvin Leith Visitor Center off of TJ Mills, which is access from I-14 in Killeen. Something new for the 2024-25 year is the mentor program. If you're like me and you like to help people, you can request to be a recreation mentor, and essentially people will reach out to you and ask questions if needed. You can take them out and recreate with them, or you can just lead them through the process. In this next part of the video, we're going to go over securing a permit. If you have not registered for iSportsman's yet, this is what you're going to have to do. Go ahead and create a username, password, all that stuff. Follow the prompts, then it's going to lead you back to the login, which I'm at right now. So here we are. You just created a username and password profile, and it's going to bring you to this part. At the bottom, you have your permit. Down at the bottom, you have your permit number and the type of permit that you have. You're going to want to print this permit out and display it on your dash whenever you get out of your vehicle so people know who to contact. You don't have to put your phone number. It's not going to print your phone number on there. I recommend that you print your phone number on there so people can shoot you a text and ask where you're at, or maybe you can tell them which area to stay away from. To acquire permits, you have to do the UXO briefing. So once you click that, it's going to bring you to the safety video, and you're going to watch this whole thing. Okay, so at the end of the UXO video, there's a really hard quiz, so make sure you take that in order to get your permit. So it brings you to your annual fishing, general rec, and hunting permits, and then on the right you see how much it costs. So really not too bad for a whole year. We're going to go ahead and put those in our cart. So we got general rec. I'm just going to purchase that one. I don't even think I'm going to fish, but you know what? I'm probably going to buy that too. Alright, so for $90 I get to recreate on Fort Cavazos for an entire year, mainly to do deer hunting and turkey hunting. Just a recap of what we did today. I talked about iSportsman's, I talked about Fort Cavazos, I talked about registering for iSportsman's, which is a nationwide program that helps military installations recreate and keep track of those people that want to recreate on post. It is a huge safety program, and it's here to help facilitate the funding aspect and the check-in and out process, and that way people can come look for you if you get stuck in the mud somewhere somehow. You know, they just want to be safe about it. So this is the holistic program that controls all.